Day 270. Luke 7. 1. And when he had finished all these words before the audience of the people, Yeshua entered Capernaum. 2. But the servant of a certain centurion who was precious to him had become ill, and he had come near to death. 3. And he had heard about Yeshua, and he sent elders of the Jews to him, and he was begging him to come and save the life of his servant. 4. But when they came to Yeshua, they were seeking from him diligently, and they were saying, "He is worthy that you should do this for him." 5. For he loves our nation and also has built a synagogue for us. 6. And Yeshua was going with them, and when he was not very far from the house, the centurion sent his friends, and he said to him, "My Elo-heem, you should not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof." 7. Therefore, I was not worthy to come to you, but say in a word and my boy will be healed. 8. For I am also a man who is put under authority, and I have soldiers under my hand, and I say to this one, "Go," and he goes, and to another, "Come," and he comes, and unto my servant, "Do this," and he does it. 9. But when Yeshua heard these things, he was amazed at him, and he turned, and he said to the crowd that came after him, "I say to you that not even in the house of Israel have I found faith like this." 10. And those who had been sent returned to the house, and they found that the servant who had been sick was already well. 11. And it happened the day after, he went to the city whose name was Nain, and his disciples were with him and the great crowds. 12. And when he approached the gate of the city, he saw as a dead man was being escorted, who had been the only son of his mother, and his mother was a widow, and many of the people of the city had assembled with her. 13. But Yeshua saw her, and he was moved with pity for her, and he said to her, "Do not weep." 14. And he went and touched the pallet, and those who were bearing it stood still, and he said, "Young man, I say to you, arise." 15. And he who had died sat up and began to speak, and he gave him to his mother. 16. And awe gripped all the people, and they were glorifying YEHOVAH, and they were saying, "A great prophet is arisen among us, and YEHOVAH has visited his people." 17. And this word about him went out in all Judea and in all the region that was around them. 18. And his disciples revealed all these things to Yohanan. 19. And Yohanan called 2 of his disciples, and he sent them to Yeshua, and he said, "Are you the one who is coming, or are we waiting for another?" 20. And they came to Yeshua, and they were saying to him, "Yohanan the baptizer has sent us to you," and he said, "Are you the one who is coming, or are we waiting for another?" 21. But in that hour, he healed many from diseases and from plagues and of evil spirits, and he gave sight to many blind people. 22. And Yeshua answered, and he said to them, "Go tell Yohanan everything that you have seen and that you have heard, that they who were blind are seeing, and they who were lame are walking, and they who were lepers are cleansed, and they who were deaf are hearing, and they who were dead are raised, and those who were poor are given good news." 23. And blessed is he, whoever will not take offense at me. 24. But when the disciples of Yohanan left, he began to say to the crowds about Yohanan, "What did you go out to the wilderness to see? A reed being shaken by the wind?" 25. But what did you go out to see? A man who is clothed in soft garments? Behold, those who are in glorious clothing and in luxury are in a king's house. 26. But what did you go out to see? A prophet? Yes, I say to you, and more than a prophet. 27. This is he about whom it is written, "Behold, I am sending my messenger before your face to prepare the way before you." 28. I say to you, there is not a prophet among those born of women who was greater than Yohanan the baptizer, but a little one in the kingdom of YEHOVAH is greater than he. 29. And all the people who heard and also the tax collectors justified YEHOVAH, for they had been baptized by the baptism of Yohanan. 30. But the Pharisees and the scribes rejected the will of YEHOVAH in their souls, because they were not baptized by him. 31. To what therefore shall I compare the men of this generation, and what does it resemble? 32. It is like boys sitting in the street and calling their friends and saying, "We sang to you and you did not dance, and we howled to you and you did not cry." 33. For Yohanan the baptizer came not eating bread neither drinking wine, and you were saying, "He has a demon." 34. The Son of Man came eating and drinking, and you were saying, "Behold, a man a glutton and a drinker of wine and a friend of tax collectors and of sinners." 35. And wisdom is justified by all its works. 36. But one of the Pharisees came asking him to eat with him, and he entered the Pharisee's house, and he reclined. 37. And a sinner woman who was in the city, when she knew that he was staying in the Pharisee's house, she took an alabaster vase of ointment. 38. And she stood behind him at his feet, and she was weeping, and she began washing his feet with her tears and wiping them with the hair of her head. And she was kissing his feet and anointing them with ointment. 39. But when that Pharisee who had invited him saw, he thought within himself and he said, if this one were a prophet, he would have known who she is and what her reputation is, for she is a sinner woman who touched him. 40. But Yeshua answered and he said to him, Shimeon, I have something to tell you. But he said to him, say it, Rabbi. And Yeshua said to him, 41. One landowner had two debtors, one debtor owed him 500 denarii, and the other 50 denarii. 42. And because they had nothing to pay he forgave both of them. Which of them therefore will love him more? 43. Shimeon answered and he said, I suppose he who was forgiven most. Yeshua said to him, you have judged correctly. 44. And he turned to that woman and he said to Shimeon, do you see this woman? I entered your house, yet you gave no water for my feet, and she has washed my feet with her tears, and has wiped them with her hair. 45. You did not kiss me, but look, from when she entered, she has not ceased to kiss my feet. 46. You did not anoint my head with oil, but this one has anointed my feet with oil of ointment. 47. On account of this, I say to you, that her many sins are forgiven her because she loved much, but he who is forgiven a little loves a little. 48. And he said to her, woman, your sins are forgiven you. 49. But they who were reclining said in their souls, who is this that he even forgives sins? 50. But Yeshua said to that woman, your faith has given you life, go in peace. Hebrews 12. 1. Therefore, we also, who have all of these witnesses who surround us like clouds, let us throw off from us all the weights of the sin which is always ready for us, and let us run with patience this race that is set for us. 2. And let us gaze at Yeshua, him who is the author and the perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was his, endured the cross and ignored the shame, and he sits upon the right side of the throne of YEHOVAH. 3. Behold, therefore, how much he endured from sinners, those who were themselves opponents to their own souls, so that you do not become careless in yourselves, neither weaken your souls. 4. For you have not yet come as far as to blood in the struggle against sin. 5. And you have strayed from the teaching which speaks to you as to sons. My son, turn not away from the course of Elohim Yehovah, neither neglect your soul when you are rebuked by him. 6. For whomever Elohim Yehovah loves, he instructs, and draws aside his children with whom he is pleased. 7. Therefore endure the discipline, because Yehovah deals with you as with children, for who is the son whom his father does not discipline? 8. And if you are without the discipline by which every person is disciplined, you are strangers and not children. 9. And if our fathers who are in the flesh have disciplined us and we did revere them, how much more therefore ought we submit to the Father of spirits and live? 10. For they, for that short time, disciplined us as they pleased, but Yehovah, for our benefit, that we may share in his holiness. 11. But no discipline in its time seems to be joyful, but it is sorrowful, but in the end it yields the fruit of peace and of righteousness, to those who have been trained by it. 12. Therefore strengthen your hands and set your shaky knees firmly. 13. Make straight paths for your feet, that the lame member may not fail, but that it may be healed. 14. Run after peace with every man, and after holiness, without which no one shall see our Elohim. 15. And be watchful, lest anyone among you be found lacking the grace of Yehovah, or lest the root of bitterness produce vines and harm you, and many be defiled by it. 16. Or lest a man be found among you as a fornicator, or debauched, like Esau, who for one meal sold his birthright. 17. For you know that afterward he desired to inherit the blessing and was rejected, for he found no place of restoration, while he sought it in tears. 18. For you have not approached the fire that burned and was tangible, neither to the darkness and dark fog and the tempest. 19. Neither the sound of the trumpet and the voice of words, which those who heard it refused, so that no more would be spoken with them. 20. For they were not able to endure anything that was commanded. If even an animal shall approach the mountain, it shall be stoned. 21. And so terrible was the sight that Moses said, I am afraid and faint-hearted. 22. But you have come to the mountain of Zion and to the city of the living Yehovah, to the Jerusalem which is in heaven, and to the assembly of myriads of angels. 23. And to the church of the firstborn ones who are written in heaven, and to Yehovah the judge of all, and to the spirits of the righteous who are made perfect. 24. And to Yeshua, the mediator of the new covenant, and to the sprinkling of blood, which speaks better than that of Abel. 25. Beware therefore, lest you refuse him who speaks with you, for if those were not saved who refused him who spoke with them on earth, how much less are we if we shall refuse him who speaks with us from heaven? 26. Whose voice shook the earth, but now he has promised and said, one more time, I shall shake, not only earth, but also heaven. 27. But this that he said, one time, indicates the change of those things that are shaken, because they are made, that those things which are not shaken may remain. 28. Therefore, because we have received the kingdom that is not shaken, we shall receive grace by which we shall serve and please Jehovah in reverence and in awe. 29. For our Jehovah is a consuming fire. Numbers 18. 1. And Elohim spoke to Aaron, saying, Thou and thy sons and thy father's house shall bear the sins of the holy things, and thou and thy sons shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood. 2. And take to thyself thy brethren the tribe of Levi, the family of thy father, and let them be joined to thee, and let them minister to thee, and thou and thy sons with thee shall minister before the tabernacle of witness. 3. And they shall keep thy charges, and the charges of the tabernacle, only they shall not approach the holy vessels and the altar, so both they and you shall not die. 4. And they shall be joined to thee, and shall keep the charges of the tabernacle of witness, in all the services of the tabernacle, and a stranger shall not approach to thee. 5. And ye shall keep the charges of the holy things, and the charges of the altar, and so there shall not be anger among the children of Israel. 6. And I have taken your brethren the Levites out of the midst of the children of Israel, a present given to Elohim, to minister in the services of the tabernacle of witness. 7. And thou and thy sons after thee shall keep up your priestly ministration, according to the whole manner of the altar, and that which is within the veil, and ye shall minister in the services as the office of your priesthood, and the stranger that comes near shall die. 8. And Elohim said to Aaron, And, behold, I have given you the charge of the first fruits of all things consecrated to me by the children of Israel, and I have given them to thee as an honor, and to thy sons after thee for a perpetual ordinance. 9. And let this be to you from all the holy things that are consecrated to me, even the burnt offerings, from all their gifts, and from all their sacrifices, and from every trespass offering of theirs, and from all their sin offerings, whatever things they give to me of all their holy things, they shall be thine and thy sons. 10. In the most holy place shall ye eat them, every male shall eat them, thou and thy sons. They shall be holy to thee. 11. And this shall be to you of the first fruits of their gifts, of all the wave offerings of the children of Israel, to thee have I given them, and to thy sons and thy daughters with thee, a perpetual ordinance, every clean person in thy house shall eat them. 12. Every first offering of oil, and every first offering of wine, their first fruits of corn, whatsoever they may give to Elohim, to thee have I given them. 13. All the first fruits that are in their land, whatsoever they shall offer to Elohim, shall be thine. Every clean person in thy house shall eat them. 14. Every devoted thing among the children of Israel shall be thine. 15. And everything that opens the womb of all flesh, whatsoever they bring to Elohim, whether man or beast, shall be thine. Only the firstborn of men shall be surely redeemed, and thou shalt redeem the firstborn of unclean cattle. 16. And the redemption of them shall be from a month old, their valuation of 5 shekels, it is 20 oboli, according to the holy shekel. 17. But thou shalt not redeem the firstborn of calves and the firstborn of sheep and the firstborn of goats, they are holy. And thou shalt pour their blood upon the altar, and thou shalt offer the fat as a burnt offering for a smell of sweet savor to Elohim. 18. And the flesh shall be thine, as also the breast of the wave offering, and as the right shoulder, it shall be thine. 19. Every special offering of the holy things, whatsoever the children of Israel shall specially offer to Elohim, I have given to thee and to thy sons and to thy daughters with thee, a perpetual ordinance. It is a covenant of salt forever before Elohim, for thee and thy seed after thee. 20. And Elohim said to Aaron, Thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any portion among them, for I am thy portion and thine inheritance in the midst of the children of Israel. 21. And, behold, I have given to the sons of Levi every tithe in Israel for an inheritance for their services, whereinsoever they perform ministry in the tabernacle of witness. 22. And the children of Israel shall no more draw nigh to the tabernacle of witness to incur fatal guilt. 23. And the Levite himself shall perform the service of the tabernacle of witness, and they shall bear their iniquities, it is a perpetual statute throughout their generations, and in the midst of the children of Israel, they shall not receive an inheritance. 24. Because I have given as a distinct portion to the Levites for an inheritance the tithes of the children of Israel, whatsoever they shall offer to Elohim, therefore I said to them, in the midst of the children of Israel, they shall have no inheritance. 25. And Elohim spoke to Moses, saying, 26. Thou shalt also speak to the Levites, and shalt say to them, If ye take the tithe from the children of Israel, which I have given you from them for an inheritance, then shall ye separate from it a heave offering to Elohim, a tenth of the tenth. 27. And your heave offerings shall be reckoned to you as corn from the floor, and an offering from the wine press. 28. So shall ye also separate them from all the offerings of Elohim out of all your tithes, whatsoever ye shall receive from the children of Israel, and ye shall give of them an offering to Elohim to Aaron the priest. 29. Of all your gifts ye shall offer an offering to Elohim, and of every first fruit the consecrated part from it. 30. And thou shalt say to them, when ye shall offer the first fruits from it, then shall it be reckoned to the Levites as produce from the threshing floor, and as produce from the wine press. 31. And ye shall eat it in any place, ye and your families, for this is your reward for your services in the tabernacle of witness. 32. And ye shall not bear sin by reason of it, for ye shall have offered an offering of first fruits from it, and ye shall not profane the holy things of the children of Israel, that ye die not. Jeremiah 50. 1. The word of Elohim which he spoke against Babylon. 2. Proclaim ye among the Gentiles, and cause the tidings to be heard, and suppress them not. Say ye, Babylon is taken, Belus is confounded, the fearless, the luxurious Merodach is delivered up. 3. For a nation has come up against her from the north, he shall utterly ravage her land, and there shall be none to dwell in it, neither man nor beast. 4. In those days, and at that time, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, they shall proceed, weeping as they go, seeking Elohim their YEHOVAH. 5. They shall ask the way till they come to Sion, for that way shall they set their face, and they shall come and flee for refuge to Elohim their YEHOVAH, for the everlasting covenant shall not be forgotten. 6. My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds thrust them out, they caused them to wander on the mountains. They went from mountain to hill, they forgot their resting place. 7. All that found them consumed them. Their enemies said, let us not leave them alone, because they have sinned against Elohim. He that gathered their fathers had a pasture of righteousness. 8. Flee ye out of the midst of Babylon, and from the land of the Chaldeans, and go forth, and be as serpents before sleep. 9. For, behold, I stir up against Babylon the gatherings of nations out of the land of the north, and they shall set themselves in array against her. Thence shall she be taken, as the dart of an expert warrior shall not return empty. 10. And Chaldea shall be a spoil. All that spoil her shall be satisfied. 11. Because ye rejoiced, and boasted while plundering mine heritage, because ye exulted as calves in the grass, and pushed with the horn as bulls. 12. Your mother is greatly ashamed, your mother that bore you for prosperity is confounded. She is the last of the nations, desolate. 13. By reason of Elohim's anger. It shall not be inhabited, but it shall be all a desolation, and every one that passes through Babylon shall scowl, and they shall hiss at all her plague. 14. Set yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare not your arrows. 15. And prevail against her. Her hands are weakened, her bulwarks are fallen, and her wall is broken down. For it is vengeance from YEHOVAH. Take vengeance upon her, as she has done, do to her. 16. Utterly destroy seed out of Babylon and him that holds a sickle in time of harvest. For fear of the Grecian sword, they shall return every one to his people, and every one shall flee to his own land. 17. Israel is a wandering sheep, the lions have driven him out. The king of Assyria first devoured him, and afterward this king of Babylon has gnawed his bones. 18. Therefore thus saith Elohim, behold, I will take vengeance on the king of Babylon, and upon his land, as I took vengeance on the king of Assyria. 19. And I will restore Israel to his pasture, and he shall feed on Carmel and on Mount Ephraim and in Galad, and his soul shall be satisfied. 20. In those days, and at that time, they shall seek for the iniquity of Israel, and there shall be none, and for the sins of Judah, and they shall not be found. For I will be merciful to them that are left. 21. On the land, saith Elohim. Go up against it roughly, and against them that dwell on it. Avenge, O sword, and destroy utterly, saith Elohim, and do according to all that I command thee. 22. A sound of war, and great destruction in the land of the Chaldeans. 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth broken and crushed? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? 24. They shall come upon thee, and thou shalt not know it, Babylon, that thou wilt even be taken captive. Thou art found and taken, because thou didst resist Elohim. 25. Elohim has opened his treasury, and brought forth the weapons of his anger. For Elohim YEHOVAH has a work in the land of the Chaldeans. 26. For her times are come. Open ye her storehouses. Search her as a cave, and utterly destroy her. Let there be no remnant of her. 27. Dry ye up all her fruits, and let them go down to the slaughter. Woe to them. for their day is come, and the time of their retribution. 28. A voice of men fleeing and escaping from the land of Babylon, to declare to Sion the vengeance that comes from Elohim our Yehovah. 29. Summon many against Babylon, even every one that bends the bow. Camp against her round about, let no one of her people escape. Render to her according to her works, according to all that she has done, do to her. For she has resisted Elohim, the holy Yehovah of Israel. 30. Therefore shall her young men fall in the streets, and all her warriors shall be cast down, saith Elohim. 31. Behold, I am against thee the haughty one, saith Elohim. For thy day is come, and the time of thy retribution. 32. And thy pride shall fail, and fall, and there shall be no one to set it up again. And I will kindle a fire in her forest, and it shall devour all things round about her. 33. Thus saith Elohim, the children of Israel and the children of Judah have been oppressed. All they that have taken them captive have oppressed them together, for they would not let them go. 34. But their Redeemer is strong, Elohim Almighty is his name. He will enter into judgment with his adversaries, that he may destroy the earth. 35. And he will sharpen a sword against the Chaldeans, and against the inhabitants of Babylon, and upon her nobles and upon her wise men. 36. A sword upon her warriors, and they shall be weakened. A sword upon their horses, and upon their chariots. 37. A sword upon their warriors and upon the mixed people in the midst of her, and they shall be as women. A sword upon the treasures, and they shall be scattered upon her water. 38. And they shall be ashamed. For it is a land of graven images, and in the islands, where they boasted. 39. Therefore shall idols dwell in the islands, and the young of monsters shall dwell in it. It shall not be inhabited any more forever. 40. As Yehovah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah, and the cities bordering upon them, saith Elohim. No man shall dwell there, and no son of man shall sojourn there. 41. Behold, a people comes from the north, and a great nation, and many kings shall be stirred up from the end of the earth, holding bow and dagger. 42. The people is fierce, and will have no mercy. Their voices shall sound as the sea, they shall ride upon horses, prepared for war, like fire, against thee, O daughter of Babylon. 43. The king of Babylon heard the sound of them, and his hands were enfeebled. Anguish overcame him, pangs as of a woman in travail. 44. Behold, he shall come up as a lion from Jordan to Gethan, for I will speedily drive them from her, and I will set all the youths against her. For who is like me? And who will resist me? And who is this shepherd who will stand before me? 45. Therefore hear ye the counsel of Elohim, which he has taken against Babylon, and his devices, which he has devised upon the Chaldeans inhabiting it. Surely lambs of their flock shall be destroyed. Surely pasture shall be cut off from them. 46. For at the sound of the taking of Babylon the earth shall quake, and a cry shall be heard among the nations. Jeremiah 51. 1. Thus saith Elohim, Behold, I stir up against Babylon, and against the Chaldeans dwelling therein, a deadly burning wind. 2. And I will send forth against Babylon spoilers, and they shall spoil her, and shall ravage her land. Woe to Babylon round about her in the day of her affliction. 3. Let the archer bend his bow, and him that has armor put it on. And spare ye not her young men, but destroy ye all her host. 4. And slain men shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and men pierced through shall fall without it. 5. For Israel and Judah have not been forsaken of their Yehovah, of Elohim Almighty, whereas their land was filled with iniquity against the holy things of Israel. 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, and deliver every one his soul. And be not overthrown in her iniquity, for it is the time of her retribution from Elohim, he is rendering to her recompense. 7. Babylon has been a golden cup in Elohim's hand, causing all the earth to be drunken. The nations have drunk of her wine, therefore they were shaken. 8. And Babylon is fallen suddenly, and is broken to pieces. Lament for her, take balm for her deadly wound, if by any means she may be healed. 9. We tried to heal Babylon, but she was not healed. Let us forsake her, and depart every one to his own country. For her judgment has reached to the heaven, it has mounted up to the stars. 10. Elohim has brought forth his judgment. Come, and let us declare in Sion the works of Elohim our Yehovah. 11. Prepare the arrows, fill the quivers. Elohim has stirred up the spirit of the king of the Medes. For his wrath is against Babylon, to destroy it utterly, for it is Elohim's vengeance, it is the vengeance of his people. 12. Lift up a standard on the walls of Babylon, prepare the quivers, rouse the guards, prepare the weapons. For Elohim has taken the work in hand, and will execute what he has spoken against the inhabitants of Babylon. 13. Dwelling on many waters, and amidst the abundance of her treasures, thine end is come verily into thy bowels. 14. For Elohim has sworn by his arm saying I will fill thee with men as with locusts, and they that come down shall cry against thee. 15. Elohim made the earth by his power, preparing the world by his wisdom, by his understanding he stretched out the heaven. 16. At his voice he makes a sound of water in the heaven, and brings up clouds from the extremity of the earth, he makes lightnings for rain, and brings light out of his treasures. 17. Every man has completely lost understanding, every goldsmith is confounded because of his graven images. For they have cast false gods, there is no breath in them. 18. They are vain works, objects of scorn, in the time of their visitation they shall perish. 19. Not such is Jacob's portion, for he that formed all things, he is his inheritance, Elohim is his name. 20. Thou scatterest for me the weapons of war. And I will scatter nations by thee, and will destroy kings by means of thee. 21. And by thee I will scatter the horse and his rider, and by thee I will scatter chariots and them that ride in them. 22. And by thee I will scatter youth and maid, and by thee I will scatter man and woman. 23. And by thee I will scatter the shepherd and his flock, and by thee I will scatter the husbandman and his husbandry, and by thee I will scatter leaders and the captains. 24. And I will recompense to Babylon and to all the Chaldeans that dwell there all their mischiefs that they have done to Sion before your eyes, saith Elohim. 25. Behold, I am against thee, the ruined mountain, that destroys the whole earth, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee, and will roll thee down upon the rocks, and will make thee as a burnt mountain. 26. And they shall not take from thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for a foundation. For thou shalt be a desolation forever, saith Elohim. 27. Lift up a standard in the land, sound the trumpet among the nations, consecrate the nations against her, raise up kings against her by me, and that for the people of Achanes, set against her engines of war, bring up against her horses as a multitude of locusts. 28. Bring up nations against her, even the king of the Medes, and of the whole earth, his rulers, and all his captains. 29. The earth has quaked and been troubled, because the purpose of Elohim has risen up against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation, and uninhabitable. 30. The warrior of Babylon has failed to fight, they shall sit there in the siege, their power is broken, they are become like women, her tabernacles have been set on fire, her bars are broken. 31. One shall rush, running to meet another runner, and one shall go with tidings to meet another with tidings, to bring tidings to the king of Babylon, that his city is taken. 32. At the end of his passages they were taken, and his cisterns they have burnt with fire, and his warriors are going forth. 33. For thus saith Elohim, the houses of the king of Babylon shall be threshed as a floor in the season, yet a little while, and her harvest shall come. 34. He has devoured me, he has torn me asunder, airy darkness has come upon me. Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon has swallowed me up, as a dragon has he filled his belly with my delicacies. 35. My troubles and my distresses have driven me out into Babylon, shall she that dwells in Sion say. And my blood shall be upon the Chaldeans dwelling there, shall Jerusalem say. 36. Therefore thus saith Elohim, behold, I will judge thine adversary, and I will execute vengeance for thee, and I will waste her sea, and dry up her fountain. 37. And Babylon shall be a desolation, and shall not be inhabited. 38. For they rose up together as lions, and as lions' whelps. 39. In their heat I will give them a draught, and make them drunk, that they may be stupefied, and sleep an everlasting sleep, and not awake, saith Elohim. 40. And bring thou them down as lambs to the slaughter, and rams with kids. 41. How has the boast of all the earth been taken and caught in a snare, how has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? 42. The sea has come up upon Babylon with the sound of its waves, and she is covered. 43. Her cities are become like a dry and trackless land. Not so much as one man shall dwell in it, neither shall a son of man lodge in it. 44. And I will take vengeance on Babylon, and bring forth out of her mouth what she has swallowed down, and the nations shall no more be gathered to her. 49. And in Babylon the slain men of all the earth shall fall. 50. Go forth of the land, ye that escape, and stay not, ye that are afar off, remember Elohim, and let Jerusalem come into your mind. 51. We are ashamed, because we have heard our reproach. Disgrace has covered our face. Aliens are come into our sanctuary, even into the house of Elohim. 52. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Elohim, when I will take vengeance upon her graven images, and slain men shall fall in all her land. 53. For though Babylon should go up as the heaven, and though she should strengthen her walls with her power, from me shall come they that shall destroy her, saith Elohim. 54. A sound of a cry in Babylon, and great destruction in the land of the Chaldeans. 55. For Elohim has utterly destroyed Babylon, and cut off from her the great voice sounding as many waters. He has consigned her voice to destruction. 56. For distress has come upon Babylon, her warriors are taken, their bows are useless. For YEHOVAH recompenses them. 57. Elohim recompenses, and will make her leaders and her wise men and her captains completely drunk, saith the king, Elohim Almighty is his name. 58. Thus saith Elohim, the wall of Babylon was made broad, but it shall be completely broken down, and her high gates shall be burnt with fire, and the people shall not labor in vain, nor the nations fail in their rule. 59. The word which Elohim commanded the prophet Jeremias to say to Sarias son of Nerias, son of Masias, when he went from Sedekias king of Judah to Babylon, in the 4th year of his reign. And Sarias was over the bounties. 60. And Jeremias wrote in a book all the evils which should come upon Babylon, even all these words that are written against Babylon. 61. And Jeremias said to Sarias, when thou art come to Babylon, and shalt see and read all these words. 62. Then thou shalt say, O Elohim Jehovah, thou hast spoken against this place, to destroy it, and that there should be none to dwell in it, neither man nor beast, for it shall be a desolation forever. 63. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt cease from reading this book, that thou shalt bind a stone upon it, and cast it into the midst of Euphrates. 64. And shalt say, thus shall Babylon sink, and not rise, because of the evils which I bring upon it. Proverbs 3. 1. My son, forget not my laws, but let thine heart keep my words. 2. For length of existence, and years of life, and peace, shall they add to thee. 3. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee, but bind them about thy neck. 4. So shalt thou find favor. And do thou provide things honest in the sight of Elohim, and of men. 5. Trust in YEHOVAH with all thine heart, and be not exalted in thine own wisdom. 6. In all thy ways acquaint thyself with her, that she may rightly direct thy paths. 7. Be not wise in thine own conceit, but fear YEHOVAH, and depart from all evil. 8. Then shall there be health to thy body, and good keeping to thy bones. 9. Honor Elohim with thy just labors, and give him the first of thy fruits of righteousness. 10. That thy storehouses may be completely filled with corn, and that thy presses may burst forth with wine. 11. My son, despise not the chastening of Elohim, nor faint when thou art rebuked of him. 12. For whom Elohim loves, he rebukes, and scourges every son whom he receives. 13. Blessed is the man who has found wisdom, and the mortal who knows prudence. 14. For it is better to traffic for her, than for treasures of gold and silver. 15. And she is more valuable than precious stones. No evil thing shall resist her. She is well known to all that approach her, and no precious thing is equal to her in value. 16. For length of existence and years of life are in her right hand, and in her left hand are wealth and glory. Out of her mouth proceeds righteousness, and she carries law and mercy upon her tongue. 17. Her ways are good ways, and all her paths are peaceful. 18. She is a tree of life to all that lay hold upon her, and she is a secure help to all that stay themselves on her, as on Elohim. 19. YEHOVAH by wisdom founded the earth, and by prudence he prepared the heavens. 20. By understanding were the depths broken up, and the clouds dropped water. 21. My son, let them not pass from thee, but keep my counsel and understanding. 22. That thy soul may live, and that there may be grace round thy neck, and it shall be health to thy flesh, and safety to thy bones. 23. That thou mayest go confidently in peace in all thy ways, and that thy foot may not stumble. 24. For if thou rest, thou shalt be undismayed, and if thou sleep, thou shalt slumber sweetly. 25. And thou shalt not be afraid of alarm coming upon thee, neither of approaching attacks of ungodly men. 26. For Elohim shall be over all thy ways, and shall establish thy foot that thou be not moved. 27. Forbear not to do good to the poor, whensoever thy hand may have power to help him. 28. Say not, come back another time, tomorrow I will give, while thou art able to do him good. For thou knowest not what the next day will bring forth. 29. Devise not evil against thy friend, living near thee and trusting in thee. 30. Be not ready to quarrel with a man without a cause, lest he do thee some harm. 31. Procure not the reproaches of bad men, neither do thou covet their ways. 32. For every transgressor is unclean before Elohim, neither does he sit among the righteous. 33. The curse of YEHOVAH is in the houses of the ungodly, but the habitations of the just are blessed. 34. Elohim resists the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. 35. The wise shall inherit glory, but the ungodly have exalted their own dishonor.